What's going on, y'all? If you're new to the channel, I'm Waiver Wire Queen. Today, we are going to talk about three players who are absolute steals in fantasy football for this upcoming 2022 season. These three guys are set up nicely to have some really good stats week in, week out for you for the upcoming season. Let's get it.
Welcome to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast with Waiver Wire Queen.
Shout outs to Tony Anthems for the dope beat. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you play fantasy football and you're looking for material which is going to help you prepare for the upcoming season so you can achieve your ultimate goal to win your league. Let's talk about some steals. Now, preparing for a fantasy football draft, I don't care what format, it's hard. You have to do your homework if you are truly invested and trying to win your league. And that is also identifying players at the right spot in your draft and also identifying players who have the potential to either have a breakout season or take it to the next level, or if they have opportunity and they're actually going to maximize on that opportunity. And these three guys are absolute steals for various reasons. It could be because of playing time. It could be because they just are set up in a position to succeed this year. It could be due to health. It could be so many different factors. Nonetheless, these three guys are going to help you win your league, and you should prioritize them. So let's talk about one of my favorite running backs coming out of the 2021 draft class, Travis Etienne. That's right. One of my favorites. Yes. Whew. This is going to pretty much be his rookie season because, he missed all of his rookie year due to that foot injury. So he is pretty much going to be a rookie this year. He didn't get a chance to play last year. Well, we all know that James Robinson suffered an Achilles injury towards the end of last season. And we are hearing so far that he may not be ready for camp. And that obviously should be a concern if you have James Robinson or if you were targeting James Robinson. If you have James Robinson, you may want to be looking at Travis Etienne as your plan B, because if he starts the season off on unable to perform, unable to play, then that's going to be a hurt to your roster. It's going to hurt you. But we all know that so far Travis Etienne is looking great. Obviously, we knew that the Jaguars drafted him for a reason. He's going to be a really good PPR back. So if nothing else, if you're in a PPR league, Travis Etienne is going to have a really good season. He's going to eat all day, every day. He's going to show out. Again, he has a lot to prove. Missed his whole rookie season, and he's going to get the opportunity. One of the key things, opportunity. When you get an opportunity, you got to maximize on that opportunity, and I expect him to do so early on and often. To me, he is the better back in that backfield, and he's going to get that opportunity. And again, he's looking great so far. Foot completely healed. And if nothing else, we got to look at it from a standpoint of, well, who else are they going to put out there if Robinson is unable to go? It would obviously be Travis Etienne. And again, PPR back. It's going to be a hell of a PPR back. And he's finally going to get his opportunity because he is fully healthy, and Robinson most likely won't be ready to go. So that would mean that Travis Etienne would be the starter in the event that Robinson has to miss any games. Even if Robinson is able to show up and be ready for training camp and start the season, which is highly unlikely, Travis Etienne is still overall the better back and will get on the field and play well, which will mean that he's going to see more time on the field. So if you can pick up Travis Etienne in your draft, or if we know he's not on waivers anywhere. If he's on waivers, then you need to be thinking about the league you're in. But if you can get him in a trade, this is the right time to do so. Let's talk about another one of my favorites who is an absolute steal, and he is still not receiving the love and respect. Darnell Mooney with the Chicago Bears. Last season was his breakout year. We all know that. Over 1,000 receiving yards. He was one of the only bright spots for the Bears. It was a mess for them on offense. It was just a mess overall, but on the offensive side, he, to me, was the only player outside of CLEMENT who actually was a positive. And he's the number one wide receiver because, Allen Robinson is no longer in the building. And all the other wide receivers on the team is like, okay, let's be clear. Darnell Mooney is not being drafted early. Not saying you got to prioritize him in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but you need to prioritize him because he's going to have a even better season than what he did this year. Okay, so if you can pick him up, do so because it's going to pay off. He's the number one, and he's going to produce like a number one wide receiver. And if you decide to skip over him for anyone else, guess what? You're going to pay for it. For example, I was in a draft and I was about to draft Mooney, but I had to wait because someone was ahead of me. And so he ended up drafting Mooney, and I ended up with Ayuk, which I think Ayuk should have a good year, but my preference would be Darnell Mooney over Ayuk. That's simply where I'm at with it. So if you can draft Darnell Mooney, if you have to get him around earlier to secure him and to ensure that you have him on your roster, then you definitely need to do so. People are going to tax you in trades at this point, okay? So don't expect to get over on anyone in a trade for him because his value has gone up, although he's not being drafted as a number one wide receiver or a wide receiver who is set up for a career year. So if you can prioritize him in your draft, do so. And know that if you do try to acquire him in a trade, it's going to cost you a little bit. It's going to sting. It's definitely going to sting. And here's one of my favorites who is a steal, Rashaad Penny with the Seahawks. Okay, look, I don't care if they got Drew Lock or Geno Smith or whoever else at the quarterback position. The Seattle Seahawks are going to run the hell out of the football. The only thing that is stopping Rashaad Penny is Rashaad Penny, meaning his health. He has been unable to sustain any type of health his entire career. We all know that Chris Carson is out indefinitely, right? We don't know when he's coming back, if he is going to come back. There's no timetable for his return. A neck injury is serious. He had the surgery. And to me, it's one of those, look, he's a free agent at the end of the year. No, I don't think they're going to bring him back because they did draft Kenneth Walker. I do believe it's going to be Rashaad Penny as the lead. And if he's not playing well, or if he gets hurt and Kenneth Walker performs, and Kenneth Walker may take his spot. But Rashaad Penny is in position to be the lead back. He finished off the season really strong. If you were able to pick him up, because he was pretty much on waivers in some leagues, or if you had him, he really helped you throughout the playoffs last season because he played extremely well. Okay, so if you can acquire him, do so, whether that's in a trade. I watched him go undrafted in a rookie free agent draft, and I was able to pick him up that way. He was on waivers in another league, and then he is available by trade. Go and pick him up if you can, if he's on waivers, which he shouldn't be because he's going to be the starter and he should produce. But if you have to draft him, draft him. He's not being drafted early. People are drafting him, but I still feel like people are drafting him as if he's a backup. And he's definitely right now the lead to start for Seattle. And if he is able to stay healthy and produce, he's going to be pretty good this year. Come on now. You don't leave starting running backs late. Damian Harris is another one. who, don't really check for him until a little bit later on, but they do produce and help. And that's what Penny is going to do. I mean, he went off the last 5 out of 6 games of the end of last season, 671 yards. That is insane. And again, he was healthy at that time. We've seen the flashes. It's just, can you stay healthy? We hope so. So what are you going to do? You're going to prioritize Travis Etienne, Darnell Mooney, and Rashaad Penny. These 3 guys are set up for career years for 2022 in fantasy football. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you play fantasy football and you're looking to prepare for your upcoming season so you can achieve your ultimate goal to win your fantasy football league, we have a lot of great content which will help you prepare and do so. Make sure you leave some comments and let me know what players you are targeting late in your fantasy football draft.
Thanks for listening to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast.